Hello TTI students, welcome to session 5 of the Intro to Audio, the bonus session. Yay! Our goals for the week will be to explore the art of Foley, identify the 3 stages of production, introduce a new editing technique, learn about zero crossing, and create a project. To become more familiar with the art of Foley, follow the link on this slide. Since Foley is the main topic of the week, let's check out the 3 stages of production: engineering, mixing, and mastering. Stage 1 is engineering. The audio engineer produces, captures, and manipulates sound. They set the levels and place microphones, and they record audio. Stage 2 is mixing. This is where multiple sounds are combined and adjusted to fit together. During the mixing stage, you might set levels, EQ, add panning, or add effects. Stage 3 is mastering. This is preparing and creating a certain sound for a specific project. Mastering is generally considered post-production. It's when you prepare the final mix and create a master copy. Now let's cover some vocabulary that we can put to use later. Amplitude. For the purpose of this course, amplitude is simply the loudness of a sound. Back in session 2, we learned about how sound waves travel. Yes! Well, sound waves are measured in hertz. Oh! 1 cycle per second, or 1 wave per second, equals 1 hertz. So 5 cycles per second, or 5 waves per second, is 5 hertz. Let's discuss time and tempo versus frames per second. Later on in this video, I'll show you how to adjust the scales for time and tempo or frames per second. Modern music here in the West is generally measured by beats per minute or BPMs. Film and video is measured by frame rate or FPS, frames per second. This is important to distinguish the difference between beats per minute and frames per second. You'll want to match up the proper measuring scale for the project that you're working on. Minimum number of frames per second to trick the eye into think it's seeing motion is 24 frames. And that brings us to this week's learning intermission. Ooh. In 1878, motion was first captured by Edward Muybridge. He was an English photographer and a pioneer in motion production and projection. He lived from 1830 to 1904. He was able to capture motion by setting up 24 cameras in a row and setting up tripwires to each camera. Then he filmed a horse running through. As the horse ran through, each tripwire was set off, resulting in a photo being taken. When all 24 photos were played back to back, this was the first time motion was created. Let's get to know the waveform editor a little better. In the waveform editor, time is measured horizontally, and it's measured in hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. The amplitude of the sound wave is measured vertically, and that's expressed in decibels, or dB. This is how you change scales in the waveform editor. Time is measured horizontally. Just hover your pointer over that area, right-click. You can choose from all these different frame rates, or bars and beats. You can change the snapping defaults and the zooming defaults. Amplitude is measured vertically. In order to change the amplitude, right-click, and you can zoom in or zoom out, and also change the values. In the spectral frequency display, frequency is displayed in spectral bands. These are measured vertically, and time is measured horizontally. This is how you change scales in the spectral frequency display. Time is measured horizontally also in this display. Right-click, and you can choose from all these different options. Frequency is measured vertically. Just hover your mouse, right-click, and you'll have all these options to choose from. For non-destructive editing, right-click on the audio clip that you want to edit and choose Convert to Unique Copy. This way you can keep the original audio file intact and work on editing the file that you just created. Hooray! This is how you remove specific bands of frequency. I'm going to be using the marquee selection tool for this, so go ahead and click on that. I've already found the bands of frequency that I want to take out, so I'll just highlight it with the marquee selection tool. Let go and hit backspace. All the frequencies in those bands are removed. Zero crossing. If sound waves are not on the 0 point, a click will be audible. When your audio tracks click, go to the Edit menu, Zero crossing, and then adjust your selection. And the click is taken care of. Yay! Let's talk about normalize. Now, I wouldn't recommend this for every project. When you have a project with different amplitudes for several clips, sometimes it's easier just to normalize the sequence. Go to the Favorites menu and choose Normalize to even out the sound. Let's review what we went over today. Today we explored the art of Foley. We talked about the 3 stages of production, learned a new editing technique, we talked about zero crossing, and the Session 5 project. I hope you've enjoyed this course.